Welcome to Dialogue This Week. In this corner, we invite guests from in and out of Korea to talk about a wide variety of issues ranging from culture and sports to the latest trends around the world. The drawing of groups for the upcoming World Cup took place last weekend, setting the stage for the games in Qatar, which begin on November 21st. The tournament is still quite some time away, but it will, when it does kick off, it will begin with a match between Senegal and the Netherlands, followed by England and Iran. Now that the teams know who they'll be up against, the countdown begins in earnest, as well as the bets on who will become the world champion on December 18th. Joining us to discuss the world's biggest football competition is Tae-ryung Kim, South Korean football commentator, former player and director of Fitogether. We also have joining us Stephen Price, senior contributor to Forbes and former Korean Football Association subcommittee member. Very warm welcome to you both. Sorry about my stammering this morning. And well, let's begin with you. Tae-ryung, now, I want to hear all about your reaction to the draw for this year's 2022 Qatar World Cup, which took place a week ago. What was your initial reaction?
I was watching the group stage draw live. As you know, South Korea had the possibility to be in either Group E or H, like everyone else. I also was hoping that my country would not be picked for Group E, but to be picked for other groups. Frankly, despite the group stage draw, World Cup has always been a very difficult tournament for Korea. But in the end, Korea has ended up in a very interesting group, as every team has a possibility to qualify.
And Steve, well, South Korea is going to be in Group H, and the World Cup sees the country in action against Portugal, Uruguay and Ghana. Now, Uruguay is South America's heavyweight. They eliminated Portugal and Russia back in 2018 and Ghana in South Africa back in 2010. Now, how do you see the multiple repeated rivalries in this group?
Yeah, there's some great rivalries in this group, and especially Uruguay against Ghana. Back in 2010, there's never been an African country who's reached the semi-final, but Ghana came the closest then, and they faced Uruguay in the quarterfinals. But that game had a lot of controversy. It was 1-1 with 120 minutes gone, and it was going to go to penalties when Ghana had this great chance, but Luis Suarez from Uruguay handled the ball on the line and got sent off. Ghana should have scored that, but because he blocked it, they didn't score, and that goal would have sent them to the World Cup, to the semi-finals. Now, Ghana went on, they had the penalty, and they missed it in the last minute and went out on penalties. So I think there's probably a lot of people in Ghana who are really wanting to see them avenge Uruguay in that match. And I think you're right about Uruguay being one of those heavyweights. They always seem to do well in the World Cup. They're such a small country, but they've got this real kind of gritty street football philosophy. And that's seen them kind of win the World Cup twice. They've got to the semi-finals on 3 occasions, and they've got out of the group stages in the last 3 years. So I think they're the kind of team nobody wants to play.
Exactly, and well, Tae-ryung, now Portugal and Uruguay, despite having star strikers like Cristiano Ronaldo and Edinson Cavani, are teams with a rather aged squad. And while these players can provide moments of brilliance and excellent individual skills, of course, there could be a downside with teams that are over-dependent on their senior players. And we can't deny that age does play a big role in athletics. So how do you assess these teams, and how do they compare to the South Korean team?
They are both superstars and have been leaders of their teams for a long time. Every team needs very experienced players, and they have a clear role in the team. However, having a number of experienced players and the fact that the average age is high has positive and negative sides. Both Ronaldo and Cavani has problems with their defensive contributions. So any team that faces Portugal and Uruguay can utilize these players' positioning during the attacking phase. At the same time, these two superstars have the ability to overcome their cons in one moment, and that is that they can score better than anyone else.
And Tae-ryung, another question to you. Now, what's quite interesting is that leading the South Korean team is Portuguese head coach Paulo Bento. Now, he himself played against South Korea back in the 2002 World Cup, and now he will be coaching against his native country. Is this a rather tough situation for a head coach to be in?
Yeah, yesterday Paulo Bento has revealed that he was hoping not face Portugal in the same group. He commented that the reason for that would be quite clear for everyone. In sports, we often can witness these situations. Paulo Bento has represented his country for a long time and has served as the head coach of the national team from 2010 to 2014. After all, he is professional and the head coach of the South Korean national team for now. He also revealed that he will treat and prepare for this game just like any other games.
And Tae-ryung, meanwhile, the South Korean national team will be captained by Son Heung-min. This will be his third straight World Cup. What are fans expecting from him, one as a leading forward and two as a team captain?
Yeah, Son Heung-min is Korea's iconic figure leader and captain, considering his age 30 and his form. It can be said that he is at his peak. It's very difficult for one player to serve the role of both leader and the ace of a team. Also, Son has received stress and pressure from this. He's acting both roles out superbly. As Korea's attacking player, he can play both centrally and on the wider areas. For some time, he has had a difficult period due to the stylistic difference in playing style from his club team and his national team. But now he produced a lot of attacking points with the national team. He also served the team very well as a captain. On the field, he is a role model to everyone and is receiving a lot of support due to his amazing interview skills. Korean fans ask for a lot from Son, but it seems like Son now is ready.
Well, the pressure is on, though, and anticipation, of course, is very high. And Steve, well, there is no such thing as an easy group in the World Cup, but how do you see South Korea's chances in their group? How is negotiating the group different for the national team compared to being grouped with recent champions and contenders like France, Brazil, or Germany?
Yeah, you're right. There's absolutely no easy groups in the World Cup. I think South Korea will be quite glad, though, because they avoided some of the tougher teams in Pot 2, teams like Germany and the Netherlands and Mexico, although I would have liked to see them avoid Uruguay as well. They're also one of those really tough teams. And on paper, South Korea's group looks quite good. I mean, they're playing the lowest ranked team in Group 1, which is Portugal, and the lowest ranked team in Group 4, which is Ghana. But it's a very unpredictable group, this one, because I think Portugal they're still a really great side, but they're not up there with maybe like France or Brazil at the moment. They've got some real superstar players, of course, Cristiano Ronaldo, Manchester United's Bruno Fernandes. They've got João Phoenix, who's the third most expensive football signing in the world. But their form's been really inconsistent, to be honest. They didn't do that well in Euro 2020. They only won their first game in that, where they beat Hungary through some late goals. And then they got absolutely torn apart by Germany and ended up going out of that competition quite early. In World Cup qualifying also, they only came second in their group to Serbia. So they haven't really beaten any of the top teams for a while. So we've got to say they're a great team, but they're not invincible. So you can see some of the other teams perhaps getting a result against them. And I think that makes the group a very open group where anyone could end up in the next round.
And Steve, every World Cup throws up a group of death. So what is this group of death? And well, some seem to say that it's going to be Group H this year. What do you say?
Yeah, in the past there were so many groups of death. FIFA actually kind of changed how they did the draw recently, and so I don't think there's as many as there were in the past. We haven't seen a group like in 2014 when we had 3 World Cup champions, Uruguay, Italy and England, all in the same group. Although that kind of maybe shows that groups of death are just a figment of the media, because Costa Rica ended up winning that group. This time, a lot of the English press have actually said England have an easy group, but on paper, they've got the hardest group according to the FIFA rankings. I wouldn't go as far as to call them a group of death, though. I think I'd have to agree with Mr. Kim here, saying that Group E is really the group I'd want to avoid, and I feel a bit sorry maybe for Japan. They got an easier group maybe than Korea in the last World Cup, but this time they've got Spain and Germany, so that's the group of death if there is one.
And Tae-ryung, now South Korea finished second in Group A in the final Asian qualifying phase, and the Asian Games will be held in September, which is 2 months before the World Cup. Is it not strenuous, though, for the team to participate in 2 major events within such a short period?
Yes, it's been a long time since Korea has comfortably finished their final qualifying round for the World Cup. But for now, top of the group or runner-up doesn't really matter so much. The Asian Games is a very complicated matter. As you know, if the team wins the gold medal in the competition, they are rewarded with regards to their national service. Hwang So-nong is currently in charge of the U23 team, the Asian Game team that will complete the Asian Games. So there must be a smooth consolation between the A team and the under 23 team. As a matter of fact, the key players of the A team will not be so affected by the Asian Games, but there will be some players who will have to go through a very tight schedule in fall. But after all, the most important competition will be the World Cup for Korea.
And Steve, well, it's no secret that there is such a thing as a favourable group draw and a difficult one. Are there any groups, though, where teams have an obvious advantage?
I'd say France seems to have a group which they'll be quite happy with. There's actually this thing called the World Cup curse, which has seen previous winners fail in the group stage. We saw it with Germany in the last World Cup. Before that, we saw it with Spain and Italy. But at the moment, France, they've got Denmark in their group, they've got Tunisia, and then they're going to have one of either Peru, Australia, or the United Arab Emirates. So I feel like they're definitely going to be very pleased with the draw and feel like they'll be quite confident that they can get through the group.
And well, before we go, this question goes to both of you, but let's begin with you, Tae-ryung. Now, what are you looking forward to the most, and who do you predict will lift the trophy?
Korea. Let's believe that my dream will come true one day. I think one of the traditional powerhouse will win the World Cup. England or Argentina, France, Spain, Germany, or maybe Brazil. I guess everyone will be on the same page, are we not? Who should we pick? In my pick, this time I prefer Argentina.
And how about you, Steve?
Yeah, I'm very excited about England this World Cup. They've seemed to have a really good squad coming through, and they've done quite well in the last 2 tournaments. But I'm not going to pick them because I don't want to jinx them. I think Spain are one of the teams to really look out for. They've got this new kind of dynamic midfield with a lot of players from Barcelona playing together. And this World Cup, it doesn't come at the end of the season. It comes right in the middle. So teams are not going to have much time to prepare. So I feel like Spain, with the players already knowing each other so well, that's going to give them an advantage.
See, that was Tae-ryung Kim and Stephen Price. Thank you both so much for your time today.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you very much.